Far beyond the crowded trade routes of the galaxy, there was a small blue planet drifting quietly around a yellow sun. To most travelers, it was nothing more than a forgotten world, covered with clouds and silence. No ships landed there. No one traded there. It was said that long ago this world had belonged to a species that once ruled the stars, but now, only the wind and waves moved across its empty lands. The name of that lost species was whispered in the oldest records: humans. On the research vessel Voron's Light, Captain Reen of the Valen species stood before the main screen. His large black eyes blinked slowly as he stared at the blue world below. "So this is Terra," he said softly. His voice carried a mix of curiosity and fear. "The home of the forgotten." Beside him, his first officer, Mira of the Kareth, folded her thin arms. "Captain, the records say this planet was destroyed in the ancient war. No life signs detected. Why are we here?" Reen turned to her with a strange look. "Because the stars lie, Mira. Every map, every record, every archive was rewritten after the Great Silence. I want to know what really happened to the first travelers of the galaxy. I want to know what happened to the humans." The crew exchanged uncertain looks. The story of the humans was a myth told to children. It was said that they had built empires among the stars before any other species had even left their homeworlds. But then in one single cycle they vanished without a trace. Some said they destroyed themselves. Others believed they had ascended beyond physical form. No one truly knew. As the ship entered orbit, sensors picked up strange signals, weak, repeating patterns of sound coming from the planet's surface. They were too structured to be natural. Mira leaned over the console. "Captain, I'm detecting an old transmission. It's still running after all this time. Power source unknown." Reen's eyes widened. "Can you decode it?" "I can try," she said, tapping the glowing screen. A few moments later, soft human voices filled the room. The language was ancient, but the translation program struggled to keep up. "This is the Ark network. All colonies lost. Humanity retreating to homeworld. May those who come after remember our name." The bridge fell silent. The air felt heavy. The voice was tired yet proud, echoing across the centuries. Reen whispered, "They knew someone would come." "They left this message for us," Mira frowned. "Captain, if this signal is that old, it means the humans were still alive when the rest of the galaxy thought they were gone." Reen nodded slowly. "Prepare the landing craft." "We're going down." The crew hesitated, but they followed orders. No one wanted to set foot on the home of a race that had vanished like a shadow. Still, curiosity burned stronger than fear. When the small shuttle descended through the thick atmosphere, lightning flashed in the clouds, oceans stretched endlessly below, and great forests covered the land. It was not dead as the legend said. It was alive, wild, and powerful. They landed near the ruins of a city. Giant towers made of glass and metal lay broken across the land, half buried in vines and dust. The air smelled clean but carried an old sadness. Every step they took echoed across forgotten streets. "This place," Mira whispered. "It feels like time stopped here." Reen walked to a half-buried monument. The stone was covered in moss, but under the dirt letters were carved. He brushed them gently and read the words aloud. "We were here." The simplicity of the message struck him deeply. Not we ruled, not we conquered, but simply we were here. It was as if the humans wanted the universe to remember that they had existed at all. Suddenly the scanner beeped. The technician shouted, "Captain, I'm picking up an energy signature underground. It's strong and stable." Reen's heart raced. "Guide us there." They followed the readings to a large structure hidden under the remains of a building. It was a wide metal door sealed shut with strange markings. Mira ran her fingers over the surface. "These symbols are ancient human codes. I can try to open it." She connected her device, and after a few seconds, the door slowly opened with a deep mechanical sound. A wave of cool air rushed out, smelling of dust and time. Inside, lights flickered to life one by one. They stepped into a massive underground chamber filled with glowing capsules. Inside each one rested a figure, pale, silent, unmoving. The crew gasped. "Are they—" one whispered. Reen's voice trembled. "They're humans, hundreds of them perfectly preserved, sleeping in crystal pods. Men and women of different ages, frozen in time as if waiting to wake again. Their faces were peaceful, proud, and strong." Mira's voice shook. "Captain, this changes everything. The elder species never disappeared. They're still here." Reen touched one of the capsules gently. "They hid themselves," he said softly. When the wars came, they went to sleep, waiting for a better time. A console nearby flickered to life. An old projection appeared, a human figure in uniform. The hologram spoke in a calm voice. "If you are seeing this, then the stars have changed. We are the last of our kind, sleeping until the galaxy is ready to begin again. We leave behind knowledge, not power. Use it wisely. Remember who we were." The hologram faded, leaving only silence. Reen turned to his crew. They didn't vanish. They chose to wait. They believed someone would find them. "But what now?" Mira asked quietly. "Do we wake them?" Reen stared at the sleeping figures. His mind was full of questions. The galaxy was built on the ruins of this species. Every race owed their knowledge to the ancient humans, even if they didn't know it. Waking them could change everything or destroy everything. He finally said, "No, not yet. We must learn more first. We must understand their message." Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. The ancient city seemed to breathe again, as if the planet itself had sensed their discovery. The humans were no longer myths. They were real, and they were waiting. When the team returned to the surface, the stars looked different. The universe felt smaller now, more alive, more mysterious. Reen stood at the edge of the ruins and whispered, "The elder species will rise again." Far above them, their ship orbited quietly. Unknown to the crew, deep in space, ancient satellites long thought dead began to power up. The blue planet had spoken again, and the galaxy would soon listen. The legend of the humans was no longer forgotten. It had only been sleeping. The storm passed slowly over the ruins of the old city. Rain fell on broken towers and washed the dust from ancient stones. Captain Reen stood near the landing craft, watching the dark clouds move across the sky. The air smelled clean but heavy, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. Inside the underground chamber below them, hundreds of sleeping humans still rested in their shining pods, waiting for something only they understood. Mira and the others worked near a small tent, studying the old human devices they had brought up. The equipment was strange but still working. Each tool looked simple, but the energy inside was unlike anything their scanners had ever recorded. Mira looked at one small cube that gave off a soft blue light. "Captain, this technology is far beyond what we have," she said. "Even after thousands of years, it's still active." Reen nodded slowly. "They called themselves the elder species for a reason. We are only walking in the shadow of their knowledge." One of the young technicians, a quiet being named Saul, looked up from his console. "Captain, I think something is happening with the network. The planet is sending a signal." Reen stepped closer. "A signal? From where?" "Everywhere," Saul said, his voice nervous. "From the oceans, the mountains, the poles. It's like the entire planet woke up." The crew gathered around as Saul showed the screen. A wave of energy was spreading across the planet, repeating a pattern again and again. It was not random. It was a call. The same words that had played from the old transmission in orbit now echoed again through the radio. "May those who come after remember our name." The ground shook softly beneath their feet. The ruins around them began to vibrate, dust falling from high walls. Mira shouted, "Captain, the underground facility is reacting. The pods are drawing power." Reen's heart raced. "Get inside now." They rushed down into the chamber. The long hall of pods was glowing brighter than before. Blue light filled the air. The control panel in the center blinked with new life, showing hundreds of unknown symbols. The hologram that had spoken before reappeared, but now its face looked sharper and more alive. "Cycle complete," it said. "Awakening protocol in progress." Mira stared at the screen. "Captain, they are waking up." "Stop it," Reen ordered. "We don't know what will happen." Mira tried to shut down the console, but the controls no longer responded. The hologram turned its eyes toward them. "Do not fear," it said calmly. "The time of silence is over." A low hum filled the air. Then one of the pods opened with a hiss. Cold mist spread across the floor as the glass lifted slowly. Inside was a human woman, her eyes closed, her skin pale like moonlight. The crew froze, unable to speak. After a few seconds, the woman opened her eyes. They were bright gray, calm but full of strength. She looked around slowly, breathing deeply as if remembering what air felt like. Reen stepped forward carefully. "Can you understand me?" he asked. The woman blinked, then nodded faintly. Her voice was soft but clear. "You are not from here," Reen swallowed. "No, we are explorers. We found your world by accident. We thought your kind was gone." The woman stood slowly, her movement steady despite the long sleep. "Gone," she repeated. No, waiting. Mira took a step forward. You were asleep for many ages. The galaxy changed. Many species now live among the stars. The woman's gaze moved to the glowing capsules around her, and yet they do not remember who lit the stars for them. Her words sent a chill through the room. Rian asked carefully, "Who are you?" She looked at him for a long time before answering. "My name is Alan. I was a commander of the last human fleet. We sealed ourselves away when the stars burned with war. We believed one day the galaxy would be ready again." Rian lowered his head respectfully. "It is an honor to meet one of the first travelers." Alan looked at the strange faces around her, the alien forms that now filled the home she once knew. "You have built your worlds upon ours," she said quietly. "That is good. It means life did not end." Rian felt her calmness but also sensed the weight of her sadness. "We found your message. You said to remember your name." Alan smiled faintly. "Then you listened." Before Rian could ask more, the other pods began to open. More humans awoke. Men and women dressed in simple white suits, each one blinking in the bright light. They looked confused at first, but soon focused with surprising calm. It was as if their minds already knew what to do. Mira whispered to Rian, "They are organized. It's like they remember everything." Alan walked to the center of the chamber. "System, activate link," she said. The walls lit up with floating images of stars, planets, and ancient routes. The hologram obeyed her voice like a loyal servant. "These are the records of the past," she said. "Before the Great Silence, we guided many young species. We taught them how to build, how to travel, how to think. Then something terrible happened," Rian asked. "The war?" Alan nodded. "Yes, not between races, but between ideas. Power without wisdom spread like fire. We saw the end coming, so we chose to hide, to sleep, and to let time heal the wounds. We left behind signals, hoping someone would find us when peace returned." Mira looked amazed. "You were the teachers of the galaxy." Alan turned her eyes toward the glowing map. "Perhaps, but teachers must also know when to leave the classroom." As more humans woke, the energy inside the chamber grew stronger. The machines repaired themselves, dust turned to light, and broken walls sealed. It was as if the planet was remembering itself. The technology responded only to human touch, ignoring the alien crew completely. Rian felt a mix of awe and fear. "Commander Alan, what do you plan to do now?" She looked at him with quiet strength. "We will not take back what was ours. We will watch. We will see what you have become. If you have learned from our mistakes, then our waiting was worth it." Rian nodded. "You will find that the galaxy is full of both peace and pride. Some worlds are kind, some are cruel, but all look to the stars with hope." Alan smiled slightly. "That is what we hoped for." Suddenly, Sul's device beeped. "Captain, I'm getting a message from orbit. The ship says several unknown vessels are approaching the planet." "They're not from our fleet," Rian frowned. "Who are they?" "The signal says they belong to the Zorak Dominion," Sul replied. "They must have tracked our jump route." Mira's face turned pale. "If they find this place, they'll try to take the technology. They'll destroy everything." Alan's calm eyes turned sharp. "Then we must not let them." She walked to the control console and placed her hand on the surface. The entire facility hummed louder. A field of energy spread across the planet's surface. "Terra has its guardians," she said softly. "No one will harm this world again." Rian looked at the glowing light that rose from the ground into the clouds. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "What are you doing?" he asked. Alan looked back at him. "Waking the planet." Above them, the storm clouds swirled into massive rings of light. In orbit, the Zorak ships slowed down as alarms filled their decks. Energy waves struck their hulls, forcing them to retreat. The planet's defense systems, silent for thousands of years, had come alive again. When the sky finally calmed, Alan turned back to Rian. "Now you understand why we chose to sleep. Power without control destroys everything, but now balance may return." Rian lowered his head. "We will not tell anyone what we found here." Alan nodded. "You will one day, when the galaxy is ready to listen." As the alien crew prepared to leave, Rian took one last look at the sleeping city. The humans had returned, not as conquerors, but as watchers of the stars. The galaxy would soon feel their presence again, though few would believe the stories. As the ship lifted into the sky, Mira whispered, "Captain, what will you tell the council?" Rian looked out the window at the blue world fading below. "I will tell them the truth," he said quietly. "The elder species has awakened." In the chamber deep below, Alan looked up toward the stars, her gray eyes full of memory and promise. We were forgotten once, she whispered, but never again. Captain Reen sat quietly inside the command room of Voron's Light. The ship drifted above the blue planet, its engines silent, its crew filled with thoughts they could not explain. Below them, Terra glowed softly under the clouds, alive again after thousands of years of sleep. The humans had awakened, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. Mira entered the room carrying a data tablet. Her eyes showed both excitement and worry. "Captain, the long-range sensors are detecting heavy movement," she said. "At least 6 fleets are changing course toward this sector. The Zorak Dominion, the Tyran Combine, and 2 independent traders. They must have picked up the same energy surge we did." Reen rubbed his temples slowly. It was only a matter of time. The moment Terra reactivated its systems, the galaxy noticed. Mira nodded. "What are we going to do?" Reen stood and looked out the wide window at the planet. "We will warn them," he said quietly. "The humans trusted us. We cannot allow their world to fall into greedy hands." Mira looked uneasy. "But how do we stop them?" "We cannot fight entire fleets." Reen gave her a small smile. "We will not fight. We will tell the truth." On the surface, Commander Allen stood among her people near the ancient city. The wind moved through the broken towers, carrying the scent of the sea. Around her, hundreds of humans were working together to rebuild the old systems. Machines that had been silent for ages now glowed with light. The humans spoke softly, but every word seemed filled with purpose. They did not rush. They moved as if they had all the time in the world. A young human named Kira walked up to Allen holding a small communication crystal. "Commander, we've received contact from the orbiting ship. They say many fleets are coming." Allen's expression remained calm. "Then the stars are waking too," she said. "It is expected. Fear always follows discovery." Kira frowned. "Should we prepare for defense?" Allen shook her head. "Not yet. We will speak first." She turned to the glowing control pillar in the center of the ruins. The pillar responded to her presence, projecting a field of light that reached into the sky. "Terra Network, open communication with outer systems," she said. The pillar answered with a deep hum. "Connection active." Allen stepped forward. Her voice became strong and steady. "To those who hear this message among the stars, I speak for humanity. We have returned not to rule, not to conquer, but to remember. We are the first travelers, the builders of paths you now walk. We ask only for peace. Let the galaxy learn, not fear." The message spread across the stars like a wave of light. Every ship, every listening post, every world that could receive it, heard the calm human voice echo across space. The galaxy paused for a heartbeat. Some called it a miracle. Others called it a threat. In the Zorak Dominion flagship, Admiral Trask listened to the transmission with narrowed eyes. His scaled face showed no emotion, but his sharp claws tapped the metal table. "So the ancient ghosts speak again," he muttered. "If they are truly humans, their knowledge could make us unstoppable." His officer, a tall creature with gray armor plates, nodded. "Should we move in and claim the planet?" Trask smiled coldly. "Yes, but carefully. The planet destroyed our scouts before. We will send drones first. Let the world reveal its strength." Back on Voron's Light, Mira received multiple incoming transmissions. "Captain, every major faction wants answers. Some are sending peace messages, others are sending fleets." Reen sighed. "As expected. Some seek friendship, others seek power." He looked at the planet once more. "Prepare to send a message to Commander Allen. Tell her she must prepare. The galaxy will come knocking." Moments later, the communication channel opened. Allen's calm face appeared on the screen. "I already know, Captain," she said softly. "Terra's systems are listening. The others are coming." Reen hesitated. "You should hide your energy. If they find your defenses, they'll see you as a threat." Allen shook her head. "No, we will not hide again. We will show them what balance means." "Balance?" Mira asked. Allen's gray eyes seemed to look beyond them. "Power must stand beside peace. Knowledge beside humility. That is what we lost before the silence." She paused and then added, "But you can help us, Captain. You understand the fears of the modern races. You can speak for us." Reen blinked. "You want me to be your voice?" Allen nodded. "For now. Until the galaxy learns to listen without fear." Reen felt the weight of her trust. "Then I will do it." Hours later, the fleets began to arrive. Massive ships filled the dark sky, shining like moving stars. The air above Terra shimmered with energy. The Zorak ships held their distance, scanning everything. The Tyran Combine sent a peaceful greeting. but their ships were heavily armed. Traders and explorers stayed far back, only watching from a distance, recording every second. From orbit, Reen broadcast his message. To all fleets in this sector, this is Captain Reen of Voron's Light. You are entering a protected system. The world below is Terra, the home of the first species known as humans. They are alive and they do not wish for war. The communication lines filled with noise and arguments. Some commanders demanded proof. Others accused him of lying. A few even ordered their ships closer to the planet. Reen kept his voice calm. If you approach the atmosphere without permission, the planet will defend itself. This is not a threat. It is a warning. But the Zorak admiral ignored the message. His fleet moved forward, sending hundreds of drones into the upper atmosphere. From space, they looked like black seeds falling into the blue clouds. Inside the ruins, Alan and her people stood still. They felt the disturbance above. They are testing us, she said quietly. Kira asked, should we respond? Alan raised her hand. Only to protect. Nothing more. She touched the pillar again. The sky darkened for a moment. Then, thousands of golden lines appeared across the clouds, forming symbols that spread like living light. The drones vanished instantly, erased by a force beyond understanding. No explosion, no sound, just silence. In orbit, the Zorak admiral stood up in shock. What happened to my fleet? His officer answered weakly, Gone, sir. No debris, no readings, Trask growled. They have weapons beyond imagination. We must retreat and regroup. As the Zorak ships pulled back, the rest of the galaxy watched in silence. The message was clear. Terra was not weak. On the planet's surface, Alan stood among her people, watching the last of the storm fade. The universe still believes strength is measured in fire, she said. They do not understand that the greatest power is restraint. Reen's voice came through the communicator. You showed mercy when you could have destroyed them. They will remember that, Alan smiled faintly. Then there is hope. Later that night, the humans gathered around a glowing fire near the sea. The air was calm and the stars shone brighter than ever. Some of them sang old songs, their voices soft and full of memory. Kira looked at Alan. Commander, do you think the galaxy will accept us? Alan looked at the stars above. Not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But one day, yes. When they learn that power without kindness is emptiness. Kira nodded slowly. And what will we do until then? Alan's eyes glowed in the firelight. We will rebuild. We will watch. And when the time comes, we will guide again. Far above, Voron's light drifted in silent orbit. Captain Reen watched the blue world below and whispered to himself, The elder species has returned, not to rule, but to remind us who we once were. The galaxy was no longer quiet. Across countless worlds, leaders and scholars began to study the human message. Some feared it. Some admired it. But all felt the same strange pull, a reminder that something greater had come before them. And deep beneath Terra's surface, ancient engines turned once more, humming softly like a heartbeat. The planet was alive again and it remembered everything. The blue planet of Terra glowed softly under the light of distant suns. Its oceans reflected the stars and its forests rustled quietly in the gentle wind. Deep within the ancient city, Commander Alan walked among her people, observing their calm but purposeful work. The humans had awakened, and though they had not yet left their home, their presence was already changing the galaxy. Commander, Kira said, walking beside her. Some of the fleets are still in orbit. They want to know more about our systems. They are not leaving. Alan nodded, her gray eyes thoughtful. They will not leave until they understand what has changed. We must teach without forcing. Knowledge is our greatest gift, but it must be given wisely. Reen's ship remained in orbit, acting as a link between the humans and the outside galaxy. He had spent long hours communicating with the fleets, explaining the humans' intentions. Some believed his words. Others were suspicious. Still, the message was clear. Terra would not attack, but it would defend itself if necessary. Below, the humans began to prepare for the first controlled demonstration of their knowledge. In a large open courtyard, they set up a series of floating platforms and glowing machines. These devices, built from ancient designs, could create holographic simulations, control energy flows, and demonstrate advanced engineering that no other species had seen before. For the humans, this was simple, natural work. For the galaxy, it was nothing short of miraculous. A group of alien scholars arrived in small observation craft. They were timid, cautious, but eager to learn. Reen guided them toward the courtyard. Commander Allen will demonstrate the principles of human technology. Watch carefully. These are lessons the galaxy has never received. Allen stood in the center of the courtyard. Her voice echoed across the space. Knowledge is not power unless it is shared with responsibility. Today you will see how we once guided the stars. You may take what you learn but use it with care. She gestured toward the machines. The platforms lifted into the air, forming perfect geometric patterns. Streams of light moved across them, showing energy flows, communication networks, and interstellar pathways. The scholars gasped. They had never seen such clarity, such understanding of the universe's hidden structures. One of the scholars, a tall being with silver feathers, spoke with awe. This is beyond anything our civilizations have built. It is beautiful. Allen smiled slightly. It is simple if you understand the principles. Energy flows where it must. Matter moves according to intention. Knowledge does not need to be forced. It needs only to be understood. For hours, the humans demonstrated their ancient science, their history, and their strategies for peaceful coexistence. The alien observers took notes, their minds expanding with ideas they had never dreamed possible. It was not magic. It was understanding, clarity, and harmony with the universe. Meanwhile, beyond the observation zones, some fleets reacted differently. The Zorak Dominion had retreated after their first encounter, but their leaders were filled with anger and fear. Admiral Trask studied the reports, his scaled hands clenching. They flaunt power without fighting. That is more dangerous than any weapon. If we do not control it, it will challenge our dominion over the stars. Other factions grew cautious, even envious. Some envoys whispered among themselves, debating whether the humans were a threat or a blessing. The galaxy was filled with curiosity, admiration, and unease, all at the same time. On Terra, Allen paused her demonstration. Kira noticed her gaze toward the horizon. "Commander, is something wrong?" Allen shook her head. "No, nothing is wrong. But the galaxy is still young. Some hearts are ready for wisdom. Others are not. We must tread carefully." Reen, observing from the orbiting ship, felt the tension below. "Commander, there are those who will try to seize your technology," he said. "You cannot stay hidden forever." Allen turned her eyes toward him, calm but firm. "We do not hide. We wait, we teach. And if the universe seeks to destroy what it does not understand, it will learn that knowledge is stronger than fear." The next day, more fleets arrived, bringing diplomats, scholars, and observers. Allen addressed them personally. "You have received our message. You have seen our systems. Now understand that humans were never lost. We only waited. We waited for the galaxy to be ready to learn without arrogance and without war." A representative of the Tyran Combine stepped forward. "Commander, why did you hide for so long? If humans had been awake, so many wars could have ended sooner." Allen looked at him with steady eyes. "We hid not to avoid conflict, but to prevent it. Power without wisdom destroys. Civilization must learn, grow, and then be guided. That is why we waited, and now we observe." Another envoy, a small winged being from the Aelori clans, asked softly, "Will you teach us everything?" Allen's lips curved slightly. "Everything is not for one day. Knowledge grows. Patience is as important as understanding. We will share what is needed, and the rest will follow in time." Reen watched as the humans continued to demonstrate energy systems, star charts, and environmental controls. They showed how they had once built fleets capable of traveling beyond the known galaxy, how they managed ecosystems on multiple worlds, and how they had encouraged younger species to grow without taking control. Every lesson was a mixture of science, ethics, and history. The observing aliens began to understand why the humans had been called the elder species. They were not only ancient, they were wise, deliberate, and balanced. The humans had not sought to conquer. They had sought to teach. And even now, after thousands of years, their approach was the same. Yet even as admiration grew, fear lingered in some hearts. Some envoys whispered that the humans' patience was dangerous, that their ability to erase fleets without firing a weapon was proof of a power that could dominate all life. The galaxy was learning, but it was not yet ready to accept the presence of the first species without caution. Allen sensed this unease. She gathered a group of her people for counsel. "We will not fight," she said, "but we must remain vigilant. Some hearts are not yet open to wisdom. Others may wish to take what we offer and use it for destruction." Kira looked at her. Commander, should we prepare for war? Alan shook her head. No, preparation is not always strength. Understanding is. If they wish to learn, we will guide them. If they wish to destroy, the planet will protect itself. That is the balance we maintain. Even as they spoke, the planet hummed beneath them. Terra was alive, its energy systems integrated into the humans' minds. Every pulse, every flow, every signal was connected. It was as if the planet itself had become part of the humans' consciousness, a silent guardian that could respond to threats before they arrived. In orbit, Reen reported, Captain, the galaxy is listening. Some are inspired, some are cautious, some are plotting, but no one can ignore Terra now. Alan's eyes reflected the sky above. That is enough for today. Knowledge has been shared, fear has been seen. The rest will take time. As night fell on Terra, the humans gathered once again near the ancient city. Fires lit the stone pathways and the sound of waves filled the air. Kira asked quietly, Commander, will they ever accept us fully? Alan's gray eyes turned to the stars. One day. But humanity has learned the most important lesson. Patience. We may be forgotten again, but we will never be lost. Our knowledge will survive, and one day the galaxy will rise to meet it. Far above, Voron's light drifted silently, carrying Captain Reen and his crew. He looked down at the planet, at the glowing ruins, and whispered, The elder species is alive. The galaxy will never be the same. And so Terra began its new chapter. The humans were no longer the forgotten species. They had returned not as conquerors, but as teachers. Their knowledge spread slowly, like sunlight across the universe, touching some worlds immediately, inspiring others in time. And as the galaxy watched, some hearts turned from fear to hope, seeing the promise of wisdom born long ago and finally awakened. The skies above Terra were clear for the first time in decades. The wind carried the scent of the oceans, and the forests swayed gently under the sunlight. The humans had fully awakened, their minds and bodies aligned with the energy of the planet. Every system in the ancient city hummed softly, a rhythm that echoed across the lands, reminding them of the power and responsibility they had inherited. Commander Alan stood atop a high tower overlooking the sea. Her gray eyes reflected both determination and peace. Around her, humans worked in harmony, coordinating the restoration of the planet and the activation of the systems that had been silent for centuries. This was not a return to war. This was a return to wisdom, patience, and guidance. Kira approached her carrying a communication device. Commander, the fleets have sent ambassadors. Some want to study, some want to trade, and some still hesitate. Alan nodded. That is expected. Trust is earned over time. We have awakened, but the galaxy must awaken as well. Reen's voice came through the device. Commander, the Tyrant Combine has sent engineers. They want to learn from your energy systems, but some factions of the Zorak Dominion are observing from a distance. They do not trust us. Alan's eyes narrowed slightly. They do not understand yet. Knowledge without patience is dangerous, but patience is our ally. She turned toward the city. Prepare the scholars and the observers. Today, Terra will demonstrate the potential of cooperation. Let the galaxy see what humans once taught and what they can teach again. The courtyard filled with aliens from across the galaxy. Scholars, diplomats, and traders stood in silence as humans demonstrated advanced techniques in energy management, star travel, and environmental restoration. Machines floated effortlessly, guided by thought and intention. Holograms displayed intricate networks of interstellar travel, showing how civilizations could connect without war or greed. A winged envoy from the Aelori clans whispered in amazement, Their knowledge, it is as if they have seen the universe itself. Alan addressed the crowd. We were the first to travel the stars. We built paths, shared knowledge, and guided younger civilizations. We did not rule because power without understanding destroys everything. Today we show you what can be done when wisdom and restraint lead the way. As the demonstration continued, alien observers began to understand the true meaning of the elder species. Humans had not sought glory or dominance. They had sought balance, knowledge, and harmony. Some envoys took notes feverishly, while others simply watched in awe. Reen whispered to Mira beside him, I never imagined the galaxy would see this so soon. Their technology is unmatched, but their purpose, it is something else entirely. Mira nodded. It is more than power. It is guidance. Meanwhile, beyond Terra, fleets that had once been wary began to change their minds. The Terran Combine sent formal messages of peace and requested collaboration. Some Zorak vessels lingered at a safe distance, observing silently, while independent explorers began recording the events for future generations. The humans' calm but firm presence sent a powerful message. Strength was not always measured by weapons or fleets. Knowledge, patience, and wisdom could command respect more effectively than firepower. Terra had become a symbol of hope and understanding. Alan spoke privately with Reen. "Captain, you have been our voice in the galaxy. Many listened because you spoke their language. Humanity did not awaken to dominate. We awakened to remind the stars of what is possible." Reen bowed slightly. "It is an honor to serve, Commander. The galaxy is watching, learning, and already changing." Alan smiled faintly. "Then our purpose continues. The elder species must never again be forgotten, but we do not interfere unless necessary. We guide, we protect, and we teach." The following cycles were peaceful yet full of activity. Human knowledge spread slowly but steadily. Younger civilizations began to rebuild their cities, manage resources more efficiently, and explore space responsibly. Ships traveled between stars not for conquest but for discovery and exchange. Wherever humans taught, harmony followed. Conflicts diminished and cooperation grew. Some skeptical leaders challenged the humans, fearing their influence. But Terra systems, controlled with precision and restraint, ensured that any aggressive action would be neutralized without destruction. The humans demonstrated that strength could exist without violence, and fear alone could not overpower wisdom. In the meantime, the humans themselves rebuilt their civilization. Ancient towers were restored, forests were protected, and oceans were cleansed. It was a civilization of knowledge, patience, and connection. No one person ruled alone. Every decision was considered, and the planet itself acted as a silent partner in every plan. Kira watched the horizon with admiration. "Commander, do you think the galaxy will ever fully accept us?" Alan's gray eyes reflected the sunlight. "Perhaps not fully. Some hearts take longer to understand, but they will remember. We do not demand acceptance. We offer guidance, and one day the universe will learn to act as one." She paused and looked down at the human city below. "Our task is not to chase recognition, but to prepare the galaxy for a future where knowledge, balance, and understanding guide all life." Years passed. Terra became a hub of learning and innovation. Humans shared star charts, energy systems, and environmental techniques with those ready to receive them. Scholars from distant worlds came to study, diplomats came to negotiate, and explorers came to witness the elder species firsthand. Conflicts slowly gave way to collaboration. Knowledge replaced fear. Even the Zorak Dominion, once aggressive and distrustful, began to understand the humans' intent. Though cautious, they began observing from a distance, learning to respect restraint. No weapon fired, no fleet destroyed. The humans' calm wisdom had reshaped the galaxy more effectively than any war could have. Reen and his crew remained allies of Terra, acting as messengers, guides, and witnesses. From orbit, they watched as the humans shared their knowledge, transforming civilizations without domination. It was a new era, one born not from conquest but from awakening. At the heart of the ancient city, Alan stood again on the highest tower. Beside her, Kira and other leaders looked out toward the stars. "The galaxy is learning," Alan said softly. "We have returned not as rulers but as teachers. The elder species has awakened, and the future is bright because we remembered who we were." Kira smiled. "Commander, the humans' legacy will never be forgotten again." Alan nodded, her gaze steady. "No, never forgotten. And one day all life will walk the stars with wisdom, not fear." Below them, the city pulsed with energy and life. Ships prepared to travel to distant systems, carrying knowledge and hope. Schools, laboratories, and observatories thrived. Every action, every project, every lesson reflected the humans' understanding of balance, responsibility, and care. Far above, the galaxy watched. Some worlds were inspired, some cautious, and some still skeptical. But all had seen the return of the forgotten elder species, and all had witnessed the power of knowledge guided by wisdom. For the first time in millennia, humanity was alive again. Not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as the first travelers, the teachers of the stars. Terra was no longer a silent planet. It was a beacon, a reminder that life, intelligence, and wisdom could endure beyond time, war, and neglect. As night fell across the glowing cities and shining oceans, Alan turned to Kira. "Tomorrow we continue our work. The galaxy waits. But tonight let us remember who we are. We are humans, We are the first. We are the elder species, and we will guide the stars not with fear but with knowledge. The stars above Terra shone brighter than ever, reflecting in the oceans and forests, echoing across the universe. A new era had begun, one in which the elder species had returned to remind the galaxy that the greatest power lies not in domination, but in wisdom, patience, and understanding. And so, the humans rose once more, no longer forgotten, their legacy alive in every star, every planet, and every life that chose to learn rather than destroy.